First of all, I want to thank Mr. Patel for joining us today, and each and every one of you for joining as well. Very recently, we started streaming our calls on Clubhouse as well, and last I checked, there's close to 50 people listening in on there. Everyone on this webinar, thank you so much for joining here as well. During the course of this call, please feel free to add any questions you have in the chat, or if you are listening from Clubhouse, just text them to me directly. And yeah, let's get started. So as someone, again, that's an immigrant to this country myself and plans to work in the biotech industry after graduation, there are so many aspects of Mr. Patel's story and areas of expertise that I resonate with, and I know so many of the people listening today are inspired as well. And ultimately, we all want to learn, what can we as students and young people that are still in college do to learn and grow and live our lives, you know, in the most effective way possible. So I kind of want to start at the beginning. I remember one of the first times we spoke, you told me the story of arriving to this country with $20 and working at a candy store. What was that experience of moving to the US like for you?
So first of all, Nitya, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm very excited to speak with you and the rest of your friends and the students from NYU. You guys are the future of this country and the world as a whole. So thank you very much. And if I can be of any help, I'll be glad and I'll be very happy to do that. So I came to this country in 1987 when I was age of 15. I had completed 10th grade in India, and I went to high school here in 11th grade. And as we, you know, like most of the immigrant, that you come with almost nothing, and that was, I give credit to my parents because they wanted us to kind of earn our way and work hard. That was his condition for coming to this country, because my father was well-to-do back in India. So we kind of came with almost nothing, and I started working. It was a summertime, came around April, and my first job was in a candy store in New York with little or no English. So that was very exciting, but New York City is the best city in the world, and it teaches you things very fast. So it was a very great experience. Came to know a lot of people in candy store. You get to meet like so many different people, and started talking a little bit English back.
Yeah.
But it was great people. They were very supportive. So I think my first job is still very close to my heart. I made $3 an hour, and there was, I think the first paycheck was also very humbling. And, I still remember I would walk 30 blocks because I did not want to spend $1 on the subway. So I used to change stores between, you know, like old World Trade Center all the way on 62nd Street. Used to take subway and then walk back to 42nd Street. So it was quite an experience. So, you know, different parts of New York City and people from different walks of life, and how they were acting and behaving, and was trying to copy them. But that memories are still with me today's date, you know, and New York City is my most favorite city in the world.
What a story to begin your time in this country at a candy store. I remember I was sharing that with people at our meeting, and everybody loved that. So in the past few months, I've been lucky to, again, speak to various leaders, whether that's Narayana Murthy or Dr. Rhonda, and they all speak to this moment where they realized they had to trust their intuition and take a risk. And learning about your background, you worked as a pharmacist for 8 years before you jumped into being an entrepreneur. And what inspired you to pursue entrepreneurship at that point in your life, and had you considered it earlier in life?
So many of us, in 2011, we won the ENY Entrepreneur of the Year award for the pharmaceutical industry, myself and my brother. And this question was asked that whether leaders are born or you can make a leader, right? So I think it starts with early age, Nitya. I was a dreamer from my childhood. I had big dreams, wanted to do something. Even when I worked at a candy store, I remember that's the first time I sat in a Mercedes. My boss used to have a Mercedes, and I never had seen Mercedes in my life.
Right.
So, you know, the first instinct was, oh, I wish one day I can buy a Mercedes. So I think at the age of 15, I started having those dreams, but dreams without action has no meaning. So I think, but you have to be realistic also. I just can't see the dreams. I have, I was very cognizant about family, getting married, having kids. So I had no choice but to go with my education and start making some money so I can start my life and start my family. So I think that was my first goal. But back on my mind, I had that entrepreneurial thing running, that wanted to do something. I had no clue what I wanted to do, right? Because I had no money. So always there was a tech boom in 2000, wanted to do something in technology, but I know nothing about technology. So I said, that's a wrong idea. But what I'm trying to tell is that it's the thought process, is the dream, is just trying to do something. So always had that entrepreneurial spirit inside me that was not satisfied by working. And working was very important because I think it gave me the exposure to the retail side of the business, on how the drugs are being dispensed and what are the payer system and all that. And most importantly, I came closer to my patient and was able to see what they are feeling, what are the unmet need. So I think that time I got inspired when I saw the stories on many patients coming back in 96 to 2002, 3. The generic industry was not evolved or developed like the way it is today. So healthcare cost was very high. So even with insurance, the generic was only 30%. So our senior citizens and other people coming for a prescription had to pay a lot of higher co-payment. Right now, you go to a store, most of the generics are $0 or $5.
Covered.
So back then, it was like $50, $100 because no generics, and even the generics co-payment was high, but brand was even much higher. So average senior had to spend like $400-$600 just on a co-payment every month.
That's crazy.
And these people are living paycheck to paycheck. So that time I got inspired. What can I do to help drugs more accessible and affordable? And that's where I thought that if I want to do something, let me start out where it has a purpose, where I can help people by doing the good things. And that's where I decided. And of course, it ultimately then boils down to the family, my lovely wife, my dad and my parents, and then my brother. All of us kind of helped and supported. And it was a dream, and dream became into reality with hard work and passion and great people. And that's where we are today.
So when you had to first make that leap of starting the company, how did you, I guess, could you have predicted where this was growing? How did you trust what the next or first step was to make?
So I think the biggest decision is the first one, that taking the first step. I think for any person who wants to start the business, or for the student, I think the first one is always the toughest one, especially as a pharmacist. You make $100,000 salary. I was, started as a pharmacist when I was 25, was working. My wife was working. We were saving, enough money, and we were like comfortable in our life. So for me, the biggest thing was I had to do something. I got tired of being pharmacist. I was not learning anything new. And I was lucky to have the support system. So first step I did that I cannot do both things. I didn't want to do half like work. So I quit my job. So I think the important thing was to quit my job, and I did not take any salary for 2 years. I did not make, because I never went to a professional MBA school or, schools like NYU. I'm a Rutgers graduate as a pharmacist. I did not have the business background or kind of put a lot of analysis. I think over analysis is a paralysis. So first thing is also keep it simple. So, once I felt I wanted to do something, I know the road was tough, but I had to start something. And the biggest thing is I'm a very fast learner. And, whatever available resources, I thought I had to do it. We started our business with less than $200,000, myself and I had 2 other friends. But that time, I could not have thought about, Pfizer's of the world or J&J or Teva their budgets. I just had little money, and the kid with no knowledge, no background, no pharma background. But I was so hungry, I was so driven, I had so much passion and belief, and I knew that I had ability to learn fast. So my only thing, I was like, I need to get to point A to point B. Doesn't matter if I walk, I run, I crawl, I drive, I go by plane, I go by sea, but I'm going to get from point A to point B. So I think that's what my inner drive was, and that's what led me to make that decision that I will do it. My lovely wife said, go ahead, do it, no issue. I'm here, I'm working, and I'll support you. So I think I had a good, I would give a lot of credit to my wife and my father for supporting. And then my brother joined in 2005. But initially, that first step was only because of the family support. And I was able to leave my job and focus full time on the dreams that I was having about pharma.
Right. To give all of you a context of what $200,000 means, a typical drug to be released in the pharmaceutical industry, building a plant, like that takes millions and millions of dollars. So again, $200,000 to us as students seems like, you know, it's a lifetime worth of earnings, but in the pharmaceutical industry, that's like pennies on the dollar for what it takes to really build something. And that's really remarkable. I want to go into a little bit about Amneal and what the work is done there, some of the work that you are doing there. So you talked a little bit about, you have this tremendous generic business that's saved patients so much money over the years, but recently you've kind of transitioned into dealing with specialty drugs and rare diseases. And I was wondering if you can speak to that transition, and because you're taking a big bet, you know, if pharma is expensive, you can bet the preclinical, commercial, bringing a drug, doing research, you know, that is a really big investment to make. So I'm curious if you can speak to that transition.
Sure, great question, Nitya. So first of all, Amneal is the third largest generic company in the United States right now. We have over 6,000 employees, close to 2 billion plus in revenue. And we are a global company, and we are a very powerful and strong R&D engine. So in 2018, we did a reverse merger and we acquired a company called Impax. Through that acquisition, we went public. Part of that, we acquired a specialty division. So we got some product in Parkinson's disease in movement disorder. And then we had another company called Gemini. We folded that company into part of our specialty division. So we have two leading assets in specialty, Rytary and Unithroid in endocrinology and Parkinson's disease. But you are absolutely right. It takes millions. What you were saying before, 200,000 is not even a penny for a pharma business. So when I started a business, people were saying that, are you nuts? I mean, with 200,000, even a small tablet machine cost $500,000. So very quick story. But what I want to tell the students, don't get deterred by all the negative thoughts. There are plenty of challenges. If there is no challenges, everybody would be doing. So I was told we needed a tablet machine and other machinery, and we only had $100,000. So I'm like, no, and I don't like, I'm like, no, but I still have to make it happen. I do need a tablet press. I cannot spend 500,000 because I had no money.
Right.
So I went to India with my father-in-law and supported, bought a tablet machine for $8,000.
Oh my
Brand new, custom made. That tablet machine, we used it for 15 years.
Oh my God.
15 years, and we made over 1 billion tablet on that machine. I still have that machine as part of my library. But that's the kind of story that you have to, there is always a way. If you put your mind to it, there is always a way. Same way, we are very, very well settled on generic side. We have over 360 products approved. Specialty, we are making a transition, but we are not losing our focus on generics. Generics, we are doing complex generics. We have every drug delivery platform in-house, means just not the tablet capsule, but we have liquid, transdermal, nasal spray, inhalation, all the injectable products. So our engine is pretty set, and I have 750 plus doctors and master degrees and scientists working on that. Plus we have started biosimilars. That's part of our generics also. Specialty, we are not doing the drug discovery, Nitya. So there's two segments of drug discovery.
Got it.
Ones that like Pfizer or J&Js of the world, they're looking after new targets, new therapy. What we are doing in a specialty, what we are trying to do, not transition, we are adding in our vertical growth area, is to add in the middle piece, which is we are taking an existing molecule and we are repurposing or refurbishing that molecule through the technology platform. We have a proprietary technology platform, which is called GRS Oros platform called Grande and Chronotech. So using that technology platform, we can repurpose older products, which has a lot of unmet need and has a lot of issues from a drug delivery platform. And it has a truncated or narrower pathway from the regulatory approval perspective. And it costs much less. It costs around less than $50 million. The brand side may cost you up to $300 to $500 million.
Okay.
So, right. So that's the difference. So we are first step. As we built Amneal on generic side, we started with vitamins and then we went to, over-the-counter prescription. Same thing on a specialty. We are doing the first phase. It's called 505(b)(2), which is a kind of a narrower path or a shorter path to get to approval because these are already known molecules. You are repurposing them for a different indication or with technology platform.
Right.
And then we will get to little more advanced, which is the prodrugs and metabolites, and then we go to a new chemical entity discovery. So I just wanted to let you guys know that we are not taking a big bets on R&D. We are being very careful and very methodical approach, one step at a time, but always goal is to get to the final stage. We are here to build the company in a long term.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for sharing that. Again, something to keep learning about the pharmaceutical industry is that investment aspect that comes into play. And I kind of want to ask you that question more from like a business leadership perspective. When you first started, what do you think you did differently that investors or people that put money into the company took a chance on you? Because I'm sure you had doubters. I'm sure you had people that were wondering, what are you going to do differently in the landscape of Pfizer and some of the companies you mentioned? And how did you overcome that yourself or convince other people to get on board with you?
So great question. So until 2018, so I started company end of 2002 until 2018, May, we were a private company. So we did not have the institutional investors or VC or some private equity. It was all funded through friends and family, so-called. So initially what happened was in 2005, after my brother joined, we had a partner from California. He was the largest hotelier called Tercedia Group. And he wanted to diversify. And we only had a single plant out of Patterson, New Jersey. But when he met us, myself and my brother, he saw something very unique. That these boys has, ultimately it starts with honesty and integrity. Most of the businesses failed not because of the business itself, but because of partnership issues. The internal problem, internal working issues. So when our partner out of California, who had funded initial $100 million, saw that chemistry between himself and us, and he backed us. And the first 2 years, we went kind of slowly, 2005 to 2007. And then when we were comfortable, we became very, very close, where we had a common goal. We were aligned on our priorities. We had the good strategy in place. And in 2008, he started backing us financially even more. And we went and acquired 2 companies. It gave us the scale. And then we grew from there. And once you start making money, there are plenty of people wants to give you money. The problem is when you don't have money, nobody wants to give money. So then once we became EBITDA positive and a bigger organization, we had many banks and everybody else, we are S&P, Moody rating, we got the EY audit. So then there was plenty of institution available to raise more money.
My favorite thing about this call so far is you keep going back to this thing of, culture, how you treat people, a family. And I want to speak to, again, in the culture of Amneal, what are the things that you consider to be the most important, and how have you helped those things remain a core part of the company as the company's grown?
So Nitya, for you and all the students, the number one thing for being any successful business or enterprise is the culture of that organization, right? strategies comes and goes, right? We are not robots, we are not machines. Maybe in future it will be different, but right now we are humans, and we all are connected somehow with each other. So, and Amneal, we are connected as one big family. And even now, today we are 6,000 people, public company. When we are private, we haven't lost our core value system, which is family, our can-do attitude, our out-of-box thinking, leave your egos outside the door, work as one team for a common goal, common sense and logic, keep it simple. So we have this value system, which we have since inception, kept it and kept cultivating and growing our culture. So when new people came, they understood and they become part of, we call it Amnelians, because ultimately it's the people that makes difference. We are so blessed to have wonderful 6,000 people. Without them, we are nothing. And everybody counts. So that's another thing we had, top to bottom. We are not hierarchy like a top corporate, like it's only ELT members, we bring everybody together, and our entire organization is connected with each other. And I and my brother, we touch everybody, top to bottom, still today's date. And I think culture of that family values and foundation is still carries forward. It will always remain with us. And without that, I don't think we can grow. And that's the reason we have grown. Until 2018, we are growing at about 35 to 40% CAGR. That's a big, big growth. And we started, and up to 2005, our revenue was less than 5 million. 5 to 15, we crossed $1 billion. And today we are over $2 billion. So I think it's only possible because of people and loving and trusting your people and making them part of the dream. And we all are together. There's nothing owner or not owner. It's just the team.
I'm inspired already. I want to transition though. You originally came from India and you came to the US, and like so many of us that have come to the US, you came with big dreams and built a business here. And recently, there's kind of been this renewed interest of business growth back in India. We've seen, some of Jeff Bezos and Facebook's stake into Reliance. We've also seen a lot of growth of like newer startups there, and kind of getting a sense of, the understanding of people in India coming onto the internet and what that means for growth there. And I'm curious, as someone that came to this country to kind of build the business that you did, what do you think can be done in India to create an environment that's more conducive to entrepreneurship and business as one that exists in the US?
Great question. So, Nitya, I don't know if you're familiar. We have a huge presence in India also. We have about 6 to 7 plants, over 4,000 employees,
Okay.
State-of-the-art facilities in India. I think governments are changing. We had a great experience from ease of doing business. There are certain areas still, the country needs to change fundamentally from the, certain bureaucracy still existing. But over the period of time, I think I see a bright future for ease of doing business. The greatest part about India is its talent pool. Right now, if I see between India and US, we have to struggle here to find people. Okay. And it takes time. And in India, it has the highest number of young population in the world. People are getting educated a lot more. So I think the access to talent, plus it's going to be a very large consumer market. So I totally see why Amazon of the world and other people want to go. It's a 1.3 to 1.4 billion people. We are migrating many people out of poverty into middle class. So middle class is growing exponentially. So I think there is a lot of growth in all sectors, whether it's a consumer sector, IT sector, pharma. I think there's plenty of talent. Government capital access is also becoming a little easier than what it was before. The approval processes are getting easier. The bureaucracy is less. They have special economic zones they have created, which gives a lot of incentive from tax perspective. So I think there is plenty there that I think India can play a crucial role in balancing the demand of the world from many items right now, especially, there is a big issues going on a supply chain side, not to have a focus in one a particular country. So I think India can provide that solution to the world.
Absolutely. We're already getting a lot of questions sent in, but before we go to questions that people listening in have, I have a few kind of advice for students that you may have that I kind of want to touch on. I'm currently a senior in college, about to graduate and begin my career in the space of biotechnology. And I'm kind of curious, if you were my age, what would you choose to work on, or what would you maybe have done differently looking back?
So I'll answer your second question. So I
Okay.
don't think I would do anything differently because I'm a firm believer. Over analysis is a paralysis. Make a decision. There is no decision which is a right decision or wrong decision. It is a decision, right? And I don't like to ponder and say whether it was right or not, right? We as a human, we have to make it into a right decision as much as possible. If it doesn't work, doesn't work. But so I think I would not change anything. I'm blessed with the greatest family, greatest employees. I think things have worked out. As far as advising the student and the new areas, I think pursue your dreams. I mean, there's plenty of opportunity out there. You have to have that passion and that purpose. That whatever will make an impact in the society. Business with purpose will have long-lasting potential. So every time it's not the business model and the number and spreadsheet. It's up here and in here, in your heart and in mind, and pursue your dreams and work hard. Be honest. The character plays a major role, so you have to have the right character and values within you, right? And start somewhere. Just don't think on a sideline and think about what can go wrong. Think about what can go right, and start. It's a one life to live. Go out and do it. The AI is a very growing field. The machine learning people talk about. Pharma is moving a lot into biologics and stem cell research and other biologics. We are doing so much research in pharma side that the world population will have access and plus longevity and maybe cure for many disease where people, I don't think, today's baby may live up to 100 years without a doubt. So I think we'll have a lot of solutions. So any of these areas are a growing area. We have to adapt to the new digital age. So anything you do, the technology will play an important role. Even in a pharma, we are adapting, AI tools and other things to kind of cut down the development time, which will bring much faster discovery to the market and access to patient who requires the drugs. So I think I'm a pharma guy, and I think there's a lot more potential. So I would highly advise biotechnology or pharma world, the new research in those areas, even the technology that can support the discovery from the IT perspective. So plenty of choices, but most important is what you like to do. Do it out there. If you're passion and purpose, you'll figure it out and you'll be very, very successful, all the students.
Thank you so much. Before we move to questions, I have one last question for you. I feel like what I've admired most is the mindset that you have. It's like continually positive, always looking for, the next opportunity to grow and connect. And I'm curious how you developed that, or if that was like an innate part of you, or that was something that you work to actively develop every day.
So it's a continuous process, right? Some comes with the experience, but it's an innate part of me. I was maybe born with certain qualities, right? But I think throughout the courses, I think it's the character that builds that even more, right? Like I believe in doing things right way. And when you do things right way with right purpose and with hard work, I believe in divine blessings. So I think meditation and spirituality has been an integral part of it. And that gives me that confidence, that gives me that drive and ability to think positively, that divine will never let me fail. The divine will push me to the edge, but will never let me fall down, because my purpose and intentions are so good. So that's been kind of flowing, that energy, that universal energy is flowing, where it's every day my confidence levels is going up and up and up. So I would say practice whatever you believe. Faith plays a major role. I personally believe in our professional and a personal success both.
Mr. Patel, thank you so much. We have a lot of questions and I want to give students a chance to ask. Navdeepak, I'm going to unmute you. Go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my question, thank you so much for doing this talk. My question would be, how do you build trust in the pharma industry, keeping in mind the opioid crisis devastated an entire generation, and there is a growing movement of not taking the COVID vaccine? Of course, science should lead the way, but how do you build that broken trust and let the science do magic in the future? How would you connect that?
Right. So a good question. So I think again, you can see a glass half full or glass half empty, right? It's all about the perspective. What we hear, if I hear one particular news channel, its world is coming to end. If I listen to some other media outlets, but overall, I'm very proud of pharma industry, special generic industry has given $1 trillion worth of savings. The opioid crisis is a very serious crisis and it should not have happened. But same time, those drugs did play a major role in helping many, many patients. So I think there was some greed on some of the company side, and that should never happen. But overall, even if you look at right now in a COVID situation, how the world has come together and 1 year to discover a vaccine is remarkable. It's unprecedented task. How it takes usually 5-10 years to come out with something, right? So I think pharma and what it's doing on all the research side. Of course, you will always have one or two bad actors and who has agreed and goes out of their way, and their only focus is to make money out of something. But I think overall pharma industry and their intent is good. I think sometimes it's the media and the messaging. But like me, many people are driven to just help the patient, improve the quality of life of patient. As far as the vaccine, I think again it's the social media and the wrong messaging. These are good vaccines, and I recommend everyone to take vaccine. And we just don't know what the duration, how long the effect will last. But right now, this is what we got, and as a world, because it's not, when you take vaccine, you're just not helping yourself. As a world citizen, you are helping each other. It's a highly contagious disease. So when you decide to take or not take, don't be self-centered or just think about yourself. Think about the society and the science and what data we have available, which clearly shows that even, especially the new vaccines, Pfizer and Moderna, is working and has a 90% efficacy rate. And, trust the FDA and other authority that they have done their due diligence, and so far, knock on wood, there hasn't been any serious side effects or not. So I don't think there is anything to lose. There is all the positives. So take vaccine.
Yeah, we always come back to mindset, and that's really where it all begins. Mitch, you're next. I'm gonna unmute you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So my question is, what makes somebody a fabulous leader?
First of all, connect with your heart. Only speak from your heart. People are very smart. In my experience of 15 years, one thing I realized, when I started the business, I was the first employee. I started by myself, right? To today, to 6,000 people. One thing I really realized that at all level, whether it's your janitor, whether it's your operator or your vice president, they all can read your mind and heart. So in order to be a good, effective leader, you have to touch people's heart. And for that, you have to be genuine. You have to walk your talk. You need to keep things very simple. Don't complicate matters. I believe in simplistic approach. So just lead by an example. You have to inspire people, where you give them the path, you give them the clarity of thoughts, you give them clear-cut vision, and really be there for people. I had many folks who joined us by taking 50% salary cut because they believed in the dream and the work we are doing and the purpose we had in our business. So I think that genuineship, your character, will lead to being the best leader you can possibly can.
Amazing. Thank you.
Okay, we have a few questions in the chat as well, and then I'll go back to letting people talk. The first is from Rahat right here. It says, you mentioned that the talent pool in India allows companies to speed up the process in terms of growth when compared to the US. And considering that, what do you think companies in the US can do to boost that talent pool so that in the future, that's less of an issue?
Well, America has been the leader on innovation, right? So there's two types of talent pool. One is it's from the service or the kind of manufacturing type of talent pool. And one is on the innovation side. I think America is still a leader on innovation. And we need to continue to advance in research. We need to focus a lot more. We have lost our manufacturing sector. There has been some talks in Washington to do these infrastructure bills where government is willing to spend so much money to create manufacturing jobs. But I think here it's more on research, high-end. Still, America is leading. China is catching up very fast. In India, it's more of a service and manufacturing. But India also need to kind of innovate and go more towards innovation, just being a manufacturing and service provider. So I think in America, we have to adjust according to the cost of living and others. We cannot compete as America on manufacturing jobs or some low-paying jobs. So I think we need to continue to innovate in America, find jobs, create the education system that makes many great scientists, many great IT people in many areas. So I think it's just it starts with the education system.
Beautiful. I got a question from Aman that was listening in earlier. He sent it to me. He asked me, have you ever had a mentor? And if so, who was that? And what was kind of the relationship you had with them?
This question has been asked to me by many times, but unfortunately, I never had a mentor. I had to learn everything. My mentor was my challenges and the mistakes I was making. So everything I learned by facing some issues or challenges. It was like I'm very poor on the finance side of the business. I'm more of a product strategy idea type. So I think everything I learned was by facing the problem or issues or challenges. I never had a mentor who taught me even on a pharma side. So it just, as I said before, I'm a fast learner and I learn. I don't read that many books either. I don't think I've read any complete book in my whole life. So I think I just, my mentor is my divine, my universal energy, and through meditation practices and spiritual practices, whatever the inspiration I get, it's been my true mentor.
I love that. We got another question from Rachel right here. It says, what was a moment where, did you ever have a moment where after a failure you doubted yourself, or how do you deal with failure in your own life?
Again, there was plenty of challenges and failures, and I think number one credit goes to family. Blessed to have a great family, and when the failure happened, my wife, my parents, my brother, they all were there to support. We were together. So I think that the notion of being together, joint family, helped a lot in overcoming those failures and challenges. And second, I had a fantastic people. I think without those employees, I'm nothing today. So I think they could never even see me down or in trouble. I have so many heart-touching stories that brings tears in our eyes. I had people coming in offering $5,000 because in 2004 I had no money. And if I was upset and was not able to make a payroll or paycheck, I had people saying, don't worry. They call me Chintu bhai. Don't worry. Here is $5,000. So this is, how can I not overcome my failures when I've surrounded myself with one of the most amazing people, amazing family. So all kudos and credit to those people.
That's a lesson right there, is who you surround yourself with is a big part of how you grow in itself. We just got a question from Gabriel, and then Jay, I'm going to get to your questions as well. Gabriel asked, what are the most important lessons you've learned when it comes to managing a team?
Managing a team, first of all, keep very clarity. Don't give mixed messages. Okay, delegate effectively. Over delegation is not good, and under delegation is not good. So when you want to manage your team, put right people in right place, give clarity, give clear-cut agenda and goals, and keep least amount of politics when you keep common goals. And it all starts with you. If you are clear and if you are not giving different messages and you don't have any hidden agenda, I think your team would definitely unite together and they pick up from you. So it all starts from you as a leader, as a CEO or the owner of the organization. You set the tone. And if you set the right tone and you give the right message and clarity of thoughts, I think managing the team becomes very, very easier. Again, I've never gone to a management school. When I started my business, my direct report was only one, my technician in a pharmacy store. I had no idea how to conduct a meeting or how to interview somebody. Still today's date, I don't know. But I just, it's everybody has different style. There is no particular style, but do what suits you and what's going to keep the team together and make sure they are cross-functionally working together for a common goal.
Wow. I'm so continually surprised by where did that trust in yourself? Is that just innate confidence that came from, I have to make this happen? Or because I think in speaking to people over the course of doing these interviews, there's always that seems to be such a common thread. And I to every student that listens, I always go back to there's almost this stubbornness of, I'm going to make it happen, whether I know how to make it happen or not. And that's the most remarkable thing, and hear people talk about their journey every time.
You have to be a fighter, never give up, keep fighting, keep working hard, doing little things, and always remember, there is always a way. There is always a way. Every problem comes with a solution. Okay, that's how you have to think, and don't get those negative thoughts that, oh, I need $10 million to start a business. No. You can start with 100,000. Okay, you can start with 10,000. Okay, there is nothing written in books. So when you keep your mind very clear, very simplistic, apply common sense and logic, everything is possible. And purpose is very important. Because see, I always have been driven by purpose. I never made a business plan that I would be a millionaire or a billionaire or I'm going to make this much money. My goal, I wanted to do something. I wanted to make my first prescription drugs or over the counter. I want to make my first specialty drugs. I want to bring the biologics. I want to bring the new chemical entity. So I'm driven by what I want to achieve. Financial success just follows.
It's always,
and never give up. Never give up.
It's go to India, get an $8,000 tablet.
Yes. There's always a way.
There's always a way. Jay, I'm getting to your question. So the first one that Jay asked is, do you think the convergence of AI and biotech in the future can bring India and the US into a stronger partnership in the future?
Absolutely, Jay. I think India and US are two largest democracy. Fantastic talent pool available in both countries. IT, India is known for its IT talent, and now a lot more drug discoveries are happening from there. So I think whether it's a biotechnology or utilizing the AI tools, whatever the technology, I think India and US will play a vital role going forward, not only on pharma side. I've spoken with many politicians. We are natural allies. And I think many areas beyond pharma, whether it's a defense or a consumer side of it, many other areas, I think India and US will see a lot more closer relationship going forward, whether it's a Republican or Democrat, doesn't matter. It is going to happen. I've spoken with both sides of the aisle, Democrat, Republic, unanimously. They all sometimes, small issues happens on some ill-informed media messages, and they make some statements, but both countries are very close, and I see a very fantastic partnership evolving over the coming years.
Beautiful. And Jay had one more question before we had one or two from Clubhouse as well. It said, how do you feel HIPAA regulations will evolve as biotech becomes more digital?
Well, HIPAA regulations will remain. I think the privacy is very important for people, and I don't think biotechnology will have any impact on HIPAA regulation, right? We just need to protect the information on internet, and it's more, before it used to be paper-based. Now it's more, everything is out there in cloud. I'm not an IT guy, but I don't think the biotechnology will have any impact on HIPAA regulations.
Okay, so we got a question from Justin, who actually comes from a family that also is part of a family business. And he wanted to ask, what was the experience like for you in working, but then also being related to family? And how have you found, that process to be in terms of existing and loving and being with family, but then you're also running this, competitive, intense business together?
Well, there is nothing like family. I'm a big family guy. I think, as I told you, Justine, I was able to start the business because of joint family, and it starts with my lovely wife and parents and brother, and I and my brother, we are co-CEOs, and the relationship is even beyond. Our partner is like a brother too, Tushar. So I think it's fantastic. I think I have many cousins and extended family also working at Amneal. It's all about you again. I trust people more than they trust themselves, right? So if I trust, and if I don't put them in some kind of a box, or looking at them with some kind of a microscope, or doubt people, they are doing this or that, I think I cannot speak for other families, but our family have adjusted well. I would say at least 20-30 people of my family are working here in India, and so far, knock on wood, all is well. So I think it goes down to your family chemistry. But I and my brother has complementary expertise, and it's been a perfect set of expertise. And only few companies as co-CEOs, and knock on wood, we have really have worked well as being a brother and as a co-CEO both.
Beautiful. I want to end. We only have a few minutes left, and I want to use this time to just ask you, what advice do you have for everyone listening today? Because when I first kind of shared your story with everybody and was talking to them, the idea that someone comes into this country, works at a candy store, and then, has the ability to, from a dream, build something so big. I think as students, that's what we study for, and that's what, we hope to do ourselves. So I'm curious, any advice you have to anybody listening today?
Absolutely. All of you students, you are the future of this country and this world. You guys are going to shape the way we live and how this world becomes what it becomes tomorrow. It's in your hand to make a world better place for everyone. And power is all within you. All of you can do what I did. I'm not no different than any one of you. So all of you have that power. You have to realize that power and strength within inside you, and take some risk. There is no risk, there is no gain. So risk and reward, they come together. Don't do over analysis and it's a paralysis. Keep things simple. Apply your common sense and logic. If your heart believes in something, and you can do it, just do it. And again, those soft skills of character, your honesty, your integrity, how you treat others, how you work with, maybe you have a partners. I think before pointing fingers at anybody else, look within. And once you have that kind of mindset, you'll be able to work across, you'll be able to attract great talent. Again, it's not always about money. People think, oh, if I don't have money, I cannot pay $200,000 salary. There will be people who will buy into your dream and join you for $25,000. It's about you, your heart telling them the right story. And you have to take that first step, and go and do it. World needs all of you guys to be very successful. And it's just not only the business, right? We all cannot be entrepreneurs, but whatever areas, even professionally you work, the social impact that you will be making. Somebody can go to a, remote villages in India or Africa and make a huge impact. So success is not just defined by the financial success. It's defined by what you contribute to the society in coming years, whether you work as a professional, whether you start a business, or you do a social entrepreneurship. It's, again, everybody's connected together and what impact you'll be making to the society. So good luck, everyone. You all are very, very smart. NYU is a phenomenal school. My daughter also goes there. So wish you all great good luck. And we are always looking for good talent and you know, maybe hopefully looking forward to hire one or two of you or many, many more. So we always have openings. So good luck, and you guys are fantastic. I love students. I want to spend, my future goal is to spend a lot more time with students and kind of give them that confidence that you can do it. That is always the way you can do it.
Mr. Patel, thank you so much. I always say my family might be in Singapore, but I found a second set of, you know, family in the US with all the friends that I've made at NYU. So thank you so much for, again, coming in to speak, for sharing all the wisdom that you did today. And for anybody who has any future questions, please email them to me. I'm sure Mr. Patel would be happy to answer them if you have anything later. For everyone on Clubhouse, thank you so much for joining in. And again, thank you so much. This was incredible.
Our home is always open for you. We are your home. We are your family. Take care. Love you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Stay safe, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.